This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, so this is going to be a very brief training on selling the appointment as an appointment setter. Selling the appointment means that you are getting the lead extremely excited about getting on the call with the closer. There will likely be an accompanying doc to this. I am recording this on the fly right now. I don't have a specific flow to this training. This is just me sharing some wisdom with you. And eventually, I'm sure I'll make some type of doc or PDF. So if depending on where you're watching this, just look in the show notes or the description or the caption for any updates on a specific PDF that accompanies this training. That said, when you are an appointment setter, one of your jobs is not just qualifying the lead, right? Because you've got a few different roles as an appointment setter. One of those roles is you're likely calling warm or cold leads. You're doing outbound dials. You might also be fielding inbound calls where interested people are calling you to ask questions, and you're the first person that they might interact with at the company, that lead might interact with at the company. So it's a very, very important role. Sometimes I see people that they don't really take the role seriously because they're just using it as a stepping stone to become a closer. And that's fine. It's good to have the career goals and the aspirations, but you also need to understand just how pivotal and important the appointment setting role is, because oftentimes you are that first person, that first live human that they will speak to at the company. So it's an incredibly important role, and you have to set how you behave on those calls, how you kind of handle and field questions, the confidence level, the authority that you bring, the leadership to those calls. It is the first impression of the company, so it's very important. So one of the things that you're, of course, doing is when you are doing an outbound appointment setting call is you're doing what's called a triage or a discovery, which is obviously you're asking questions to that lead to determine, hey, is this a qualified lead? So that's what you're doing for the company, right? What you're doing for the person on the other end of the phone, because they are important as well. The lead, they have to know that they're important, they're valued, right? And you have to know as well. This is not just a means to an end. They are not just another number. Literally and figuratively speaking, they are not, they're an actual human being with real goals and aspirations and problems and challenges and dreams and fears and hopes for their business. And they've reached out to your company for hope. They think, hey, based on the marketing, you might be able to help them. Or maybe they've opted into the Facebook ad or a lead form or a funnel or something, and they're having some type of hope that maybe this is it. Maybe this is the thing that I've been looking for God knows how long. Some people for years. Some people might have worked with like dozens of other companies that haven't been able to get them results, and they're just looking for that right one. So it's incredibly important how you interact with that person, right? I do not want that to be lost on you. So when you start up that conversation, you're doing that triage, you're asking those questions. Yes, for the business that you work for, one of the roles that you have is to qualify that person to make sure that they're a good fit for the offer, right? If the offer is like a $10K offer and you've got somebody over here that only makes $1,000 a month in their business and has no other means of, obtaining that type of investment, then yeah, I mean, that's probably not a good fit from the financial perspective. Now, they could be, maybe they have another business, maybe they have another job, a high-paying job, maybe they have a spouse that's incredibly supportive and is investing in their business. So, it doesn't entirely mean that they wouldn't be able to do it, but it is something to consider. So one of those questions that you're asking, obviously, are financial qualifying questions. Those typically happen at the end of the year, kind of close to the end of the engagement after you've built up trust. But if you've never set an appointment before, then, you might not know the types of questions that you're going to be asking, but it's things like, okay, well, what exactly, are you looking for? Do you know what you're looking for? And they might say, oh, well, I'm looking for help with marketing my business, and that's why they've come to you, because you're a marketing agency, for example. Okay, awesome. What have you tried before for your marketing, for example? What are some of the things that you've done? Getting an idea, what have they tried in the past, right? You want to know what's worked for them in the past, what hasn't worked for them in the past, because if your business even seems remotely similar to, or the business that you work for even seems remotely similar to the something that they've tried in the past that hadn't worked, that's a huge problem for you. That needs to be fielded, that needs to be addressed, right? So your job as the appointment setter, as that first kind of like boots on the ground, so to speak. I don't even actually really like to use the military analogies anymore, because it does add to a certain energetic element that I would prefer to stay away from. I'm more on the tip of empowering and inspiring and, less kind of fear-based, less like masculine, so to speak. A lot of masculine sales is very driven, and there's nothing like necessarily wrong with it. It's just a different approach. Is a little bit more urgency-based, fear-based, like gotta take action now or else you're totally screwed. I'm a little bit more on like hey, like, is this truly a right fit for both of us together, and is going to be a great business partnership moving forward, and like is not a remotely like take your time on deciding that, like that's fine. Got plenty of other things, other people I can talk to. Anyway, I don't want to go too much down a rabbit hole on that. But you do want to get an idea of what they're looking for, what they've, what has worked for them, what they've tried, what they haven't tried before. So with that being said, also asking questions, just pulling up a few things I can maybe actually share of what services they're looking to promote. If it's a marketing agency, for example, well, what services are you looking to promote with your business? What's the average price point? How frequently do your clients return? Now, it depends on the business that you're working with and the type of business that you're working with to know kind of how deeply you want to go with this discovery process, with the triage process, and that's going to be dependent on your individual business that you're working with. But asking them things like what's the staff size? Are there any other owners? Are there any leadership or support staff that they have? That's a good question to ask, because you want to get an idea of, are there any other decision makers, anybody else that's involved, right? Now, I won't say necessarily traditional sales, but in there was a period of time where the one call close was the gold standard. Some people might still think that is the gold standard, to close that person by the end of that 1 hour call. And sometimes that works beautifully. Other times people do. I mean, nobody likes feeling rushed or pressured to make a decision, and that is not the energy that I want to personally bring forward. Now, in this case, you're just setting the appointment, so you're getting all this information for the closer typically, or the actual salesperson or the consultant or whatever the title is at that company that you're working with. You're getting all this information compiled for them so they have a good jumping off point for that consultation, for that next call, right? So, but you do want to find out if there's any other support staff leadership there, because obviously there may be other people that are involved in making that decision, and if they are, it's generally a good idea to have them on the call, because on that consultation you're going to be going through your next team member, your person that you're booking this appointment for, is going to be going through a lot of information about how your company can help this person achieve their goals. So if there's only half of the people there that are making the decision, now it's going to be up to that one person that already has so much on their plate to go and explain that to the other person, and we do not want to put them in that position. So always frame it by, you have another business partner. That's awesome. We highly recommend bringing them to the call, so that way if they have any questions about what we do, they'll be there and they'll hear it directly from Christina, for example, or whoever the person's name is. They'll hear it directly from her. So that way, if they have questions, they can just ask their questions directly. It's just way easier on you. We wouldn't want you to be in the position to have to go back and have to explain everything to them and how it works and answer their questions. That's kind of a lot to put on you when you've already, have so much on your plate already. We'd love to just have them on that call. So inviting them to that call. Asking them things like, hey, so based on your calculations, what should your business be producing every month in terms of the the revenue, right? What should that be? What are you bringing in? And if they don't know, then that kind of tells you a little bit about their business experience. Like maybe they're very, very new. They haven't done those calculations yet. An experienced, seasoned business person is going to know their numbers, going to know where they should be, going to know where they are. But you want to ask them that question. If they don't know, that tells you a little bit about them. But you can say, hey, you know what, ballpark, what should you be? Do you think if everybody was booked, for example, if you're running a marketing company, for example, if all of your service providers were booked, $20K a month, $30K a month, $50K a month, what, just totally rough math, what would it be? Okay, great. And where are you guys at right now? What's the monthly revenue currently, right? So in this training, I will include a list of some basic discovery information gathering questions that you could ask if you're not sure about those things. So that will definitely be in here within this in the description or the caption or whatever. But yeah, those are a few things. So you've got, at that point, what services they're looking to do, what they've tried for marketing before, what's worked well, what hasn't worked. And this could be like, you could put any other type of business in. Oh, have you tried other cleaning companies before? Or have you tried other coaches before? Or have you joined other education programs before? Or whatever, right? Like what's worked, what hasn't. You want to get those things, what worked and what hasn't. So that way, when you are positioning your offer to them, you can make sure that you're kind of addressing what you are going to perceive or likely going to be objections. Oh, well, I tried that before, it didn't work. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, are you married? Like, did you date other people before that? Did that not work out? But like now you're in a loving relationship. I mean, yeah, things don't work out all the time when we try them. Just a matter of how you went about doing it. Doesn't mean that it doesn't work at all. If it's working for other people, obviously it does work. It's just a matter of modifying that for you. So that said, I'm not going to go into objection handling on this. However, as an appointment setter, I will have another training for that, because objection handling is something that you think that it's just going to be the salesperson's or the consultant's or the closer's job, but you are also, as an appointment setter, going to need to also know how to handle objections, because that's going to come up. People are going to be like, oh, you know what, they're not going to take it seriously, or they don't, especially if it's a cold lead. Maybe they opted into the funnel like 3 months ago, 6 months ago. They have no idea who you are when you're calling. It's like you forget entirely. So how you position yourself when you even open up that call is super important. So not only are you asking these questions, that's like your basic job responsibility, is to like ask these questions to see, is this even a match? Is this a good use of time, both for the person, the potential client, and for the business? Is this a good use of time to have a conversation? If it's not at all what they're looking for, then like, no, obviously you would not book them on the call. So with that said, even opening up that call, if they're not sure, hey, here's a great way to open the call. And I'll also have this in the guide as well. When you're opening that call, the more advanced version, other than just saying, hey, you reached out to us, have a couple questions, want to see if we can help you, right? How you open that call is extremely important. You've got to make that impression in like literally like 5 seconds, like maybe 3 seconds, really. So like, hey, Janice, Christina here from Insert Business. Saw that you reached out to us, it looks like yesterday at about 12:14 p.m. You saw our Facebook ad, and then you clicked on it, and you looked at our funnel, our little mini website, and you sent us your information. We're the ones that get you 20 to 25 booked appointments a month. Do you remember anything about that? Does that sound familiar to you? Oh, yeah, totally. I just saw you guys yesterday, right? Now, if they booked in or opted into the funnel months ago, they're old, they're cold, they don't remember, hey, we're the ones that do XYZ type of service. This is the type of result. Now, whatever result you have in your business has in their hook that really drives people in, that's what you want to mention, because that's what they're probably going to remember. Hey, we're the ones that get you 20 to 25 booked appointments with paid deposits on your calendar every month, working specifically with insert niche here. Right? So you want to remind them, does that ring any bells? Oh, that doesn't ring any bells. Okay, let me drop you a link to this is what you saw. And then you drop them. I just texted it to you. Just texted you that link, right? So obviously in some cases they're going to pick up the phone. They're not going to know who the heck you are, right? So when you're reaching out, you want to keep it quick. You want to keep it short. Hey, Janice, Christina here from Insert Business here. Listen, I only have like a couple minutes, so unfortunately I don't have very long to chat with you. But I did want to give you a call quickly because I do see that you reached out to us on Tuesday at 12:14 p.m. And you wanted to get some more information. We're the ones that insert hook here, what we do, insert who we do it for. We're the ones that do that. Do you remember clicking on that ad a couple days ago? Oh, you don't? You've clicked on like 30 ads in the last like 3 days. Okay, that happens. Here, I'm going to drop the website to you. Can you take a look at your text messages really quick? You see the website there, www.ourwebsite.com. Awesome. Does that look familiar to you? Okay, thought so. That is what you saw when you booked the call, or when you opted in to get more information. So listen, like I said, I only have a few minutes. I don't have very long. Do you have a couple minutes to answer some basic questions just to see if it's even worth your time to talk to us? And then if they say, yeah, I've got a couple minutes, right? You want to let them know from the beginning that you only have a couple minutes, because truthfully, you do. You don't want to be spending like more than 10 or 15 minutes on this call, right? I've only got a few minutes. I've got another appointment coming up. I don't have that much time, but I did have some time to quickly call you just to see if we can help. That's the type of vibe that you want to give them, right? And it's true, because you want to keep to a good pace, especially when you're setting appointments. You don't want to be on the call for like an hour with these people. You also don't want to be on the call for like 3 to 5 minutes. That's way too short. If your calls are 3 to 5 minutes and you're an appointment setter, you are not doing your job correctly. I'm sorry. That's just the truth. Even if you're rescheduling someone. Because if you're rescheduling, like they had to reschedule, they had to cancel, or they no-showed, and it's even more important to spend at least 10 or 15 minutes with those people, because, like I said, the beginning of the call, or beginning of this training, you have to sell the actual appointment that you're setting for. That's what you are selling, right? You might not be exchanging money with this lead, but you are actually selling the actual appointment itself. And I'm going to get to that. That's where we're going. That's where we're headed. But it all starts with the first few minutes of that interaction, of that, hey, I only had a couple minutes to reach out, but I did see that you reached out to us a couple days ago. You saw us on Instagram. You saw us on Facebook. You reached out to us about this time. You sent us your information, right? If they say yes, yeah, I got a couple minutes. And if they say no, I don't, it's like, oh, really? Am I really calling you at like the worst possible time imaginable? Or like, do you want to just knock something off your to-do list and cross this off your list? Maybe we're not the right fit for you. But if you have like 5 to 10 minutes, we can figure that out. Now, obviously, we're leaning more towards that 10-minute mark. If they're truly like, yes, you actually did call me at the worst time imaginable, no big deal. Hey, you know what? No worries. Let's circle back. I have a 5 p.m. today. Do you have about 10 minutes or so to talk at that point on the phone? Okay, awesome. You circle back, you book them. If you really did catch that bad. I like to ask questions like that when I'm setting calls. Hey, did I catch you at like the worst time imaginable or anything right now? And then in some cases, if you really did, they'll say yes. But if like people like to correct others when they're wrong, it's just a natural thing that we like as humans. Typically, most of us would be like, oh no, like, hey, yeah, you seem really da-da-da. Oh no, I'm not that way at all. Or like, oh no, I'm not sad. You seem really sad today. Oh, I'm not sad. You know, you like to correct people, right? If they're wrong, right? And so asking them things like, am I catching you at the worst time imaginable, is an easy way to kind of get a litmus test on them. But that said, let's say that they do say, hey, yes, I've got some time to chat. Then you're going to be like, awesome. So I've got a couple basic questions for you. The intention of me asking these questions is to just see if it's worth your time. Always frame it on their time. Is it worth their time? Because their time is important too. We have to make sure that we're not treating these leads like just these are real people that you're calling, right? These are real people. You have to kind of think like this business owner or person is looking for a solution to their problems, and they reached out to your business. And even if you have thousands of leads in your system, but you're on the phone with a real person right now. So you have to remember that. You have to be thinking about their needs as well. And I think that's why a lot of setters fail, because they don't actually think about that person as a real human being, like I said, with real hopes, with real fears, with real dreams, that's looking for a solution to their problems, and your business could be that solution, right? And they want to feel confident and comfortable if they're going to move forward, right? So I want to ask you a couple basic questions just to see if this is worth your time to be able to get on a call to go to an actual consult with one of our senior consultants. Cool. Good to go. Here, boom, boom, boom. You ask them those discovery questions that we talked about before. Awesome. So if they truly are a good fit, now if they do not meet whatever criteria that whichever company that you're working for has outlined for the appointments that they would like you to clear to be booked onto the calendar, then obviously don't book them. If there is an uncertainty that you have on if they are a good client, and you're like maybe they're on sort of a gray area, or if they're a good lead to be booked onto an appointment for the business, right? If on the flip side, you're like, hey, this person, like, I think we can help them. I'm like, really? I'm not sure. Just be honest with them and just say, hey, listen, based on everything that you've told me, you know, there's a few things that I'm not entirely, I don't want to give you any incorrect information. So like, I'm like 99% sure that we can help you, but let me just reach out to the business owner, or let me just reach out to, the person I'm booking the appointment on for you, and just like, let me just double check a few things with them, and then I'll call you back. I would love to help you. We've helped other people in similar situations as to you before, but I do just want to double check one thing. So one thing that could be an example of is, it could be like financial. Like they're not financially qualified. That's something where you would want to double check. You don't want to just abandon that person completely, but you do want to like double check on those things. If they do say something like, oh, their business is making like $2,000, $3,000 a month, or something that's like crazy low, $5,000 a month, even depending on the offer that you are booking for, could be very low. Okay, awesome. Is this your only business? Do you have any other responsibilities? Are you working full time, or is this your primary focus? And if they're like, oh yeah, I'm also working full time. Oh, okay. Oh, cool. Like, what do you do? Getting an idea of like, do they have other like finances potentially involved here? Oh, cool. Awesome. Do you run this business by yourself? Like, are you married? Do you run this with a partner? No, I'm not married. No, they don't run it with a partner. No business partner. There's no other person that really needs to be on the call. Not married. So likely, they're the only income that is supporting like this business. They do have another job. Their business is only making $1,000 a month, but it's because they're still working their other job, and their biggest goal is to get out of that job and run their business full time. So all of those things you found out just by asking some of these basic questions, without necessarily being invasive, but by being conversational with that person. So by being conversational, awesome. So like, you're running this business, $1,000, $3,000, $5,000, that seems a little on the low end for a business like this. With all due respect, like, are you just getting started, or do you have another job? Like how are you possibly making life work with that? I mean, this is really impressive if you're paying off your bill. Obviously you don't have to go through all of those talk tracks. I'm throwing out a few talk tracks for you here just to kind of give you some idea. Like, this is just a conversation that you're having with them. Now, some people aren't want to go, especially if they haven't really like done any research on your company. Some people aren't going to really go into that like much detail with you. So you really have to gauge like the rapport that you've been able to kind of build with this person up until this point, because some of those questions typically are things that the consultant is going to ask anyway, the closer, the salesperson, whoever. They might go deep if they do have that rapport. So just kind of keep that in mind. Like, you don't want to ever feel like you're prying into somebody's life. But if they say that they've been like, they're making 3 to 5K in their business. Oh, cool. Like, how long have you been in operation for? Oh, 5 years. Okay. Wow. Are you running like another business alongside of this one? Oh, no. Okay. Is this your primary focus right now? Oh, no, I also work full time. Oh, cool. What do you do? So very conversational. You're not prying. You're just like asking, because those would be questions that I would have. I mean, like, how are they supporting themselves and their kids that they just mentioned on like $3,000 a month when their business expenses are $3,000 a month, right? So you're going through, you're asking those questions, you're getting a clear picture of them. Now, let's say they're cleared, they're qualified, they're good to go, they're good to be booked. Awesome. So great. Based on everything that you've shared with me, you sound actually a lot like some of our best clients. You have problems that we can solve. Your goals are very reasonable. Your expectations are very reasonable. These are all things that I'm confident that we can meet, that we can do for you. So it would absolutely make sense, and it would absolutely be worth your time to spend about 45 minutes to an hour talking to one of our consultants. What they're going to do is they're going to pick up literally right where we left off. I'm going to give them all the notes that I just took on you. They're going to kind of come onto that call. They're going to already know quite a bit about you. They're just going to kind of hop in. They might have a few more questions to kind of fill in some maybe missing pieces or blanks that they might have to kind of get a really good idea of your situation, or an even better idea of your situation. But I'm going to give them all those notes. You're going to get on that call. They're going to pick up where we left off. They're going to share with you what they believe we could do to help you. So like what they would suggest that we could do to help you. So we do those calls on Zoom. The call's going to be, like I said, about 45 minutes to 60 minutes. I have a few openings tomorrow. I have one opening tonight. I've got a few openings tomorrow, and let me know if any of these times work. So then you give them the times. You always want to try to book them like, if it's not same day, if you have a lot of materials to go through before the call, maybe it makes sense to book them the second day. But, within 24 hours, within 48 hours, you do not want to book them like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days out. They are going to forget half the stuff that you've talked with them about over the last like 7 minutes or so. And, they're not going to remember most of it. So that's just how it is. Like, we all get busy, maybe they will, they could have a good memory, but like, we all get busy. We have a lot of stuff going on in our lives. Like, you want to get them in like the next 24 to 48 hours. So You give them those slots. Let me know if any of those work. Awesome. So this works. So just making sure, I want to make sure that you get the most out of this appointment, Sandra. So are you able to be seated like at a computer ideally, or like seated maybe with your phone with a notepad ready to take notes? I want to make sure that you get the most out of it, and she's going to be going over not just what we do and how to help you, but she's also going to be sharing a lot of helpful information for you as an XYZ business owner, as an insert niche here business owner. A little bit about Christina. She's been working with XYZ types of businesses for the last 5 years. She's literally talked to thousands of other business owners just like you. Now, obviously, you only want to say what's true, right? I'm sharing with you what's true about me specifically in a situation now where I am helping build and train a sales team for a beauty business marketing company. And I've been working in the beauty business marketing space since 2020. So you only want to talk about things that are true, but you want to build them up. So we're finally here, and we've arrived in the location of, I guess the metaphorical location of you selling the next appointment to them. I cannot stress that enough. This is why I got inspired to start this entire training. Was because I had an appointment that was set for me, and she did not see the value in it. She did not really understand exactly maybe the context of the appointment, and she canceled it. She's like, I don't think I'm ready for this. Like, this is typically when this happens, the person's mindset is, the appointment I'm going to get on is just a sales call, and they're just going to try to sell me, and I'm not in a financial place to do anything right now, so I'm just going to cancel the call. Because they're seeing it as a sales call when they should be seeing it as a valuable consultation, as long as that's truly what it is, because that's how I run my calls. They're valuable consultations. I just spent my last call that I was talking to a new business, never really talked to a marketing agency before, which is the offer that I am, my company specifically is helping to outsource sales, do outsource sales for. And so it was a marketing service that I was talking about. And I told her, hey, listen, along the way, get your notepad out. Along the way, I'm going to share with you a few things that you want to make sure that you're asking every other agency that you talk to. And I was telling her, ask how much ad spend they've managed. We've managed X dollars. That's a lot. Somebody else might say they've been in business longer, in years, but if they haven't managed and overseen an ad spend as high as we have, millions of dollars, literally $35+ million of ad spend. If your other agency was in business twice as long, but they only managed $100K in ad spend, that would be totally different type of level of experience. And one could argue, ad spend versus results, but it's also, when you've ran that many much money in ads, you've absolutely learned what to do and what to not do. There's no question. Versus I've ran $1,000 in ads. It's you're like a baby. You're just getting started. You have no idea really what you're doing in most cases. You're learning as you go. So with that said, what I'm getting at is on my consultations that I lead, they're actually valuable. This is not just a sales call. Am I offering something to you if I truly believe that we can help you? On my consultations, absolutely. Any business that I'm ever going to get involved with, that I'm ever going to sell a service or a product for, I'm going to find out, A, can we actually legitimately help that person? Do I truly believe that we can get them to where they want to go? And if so, of course I'm going to offer them. It would be morally and ethically wrong for me to not offer them something that can help them. If they're in a position where I believe that we can help, they have similar problems that our company has solved before, it would be literally ethically wrong. I would consider it morally wrong to just say, oh, hey, we can help you, but I'm not going to tell you how. Good luck. See you later. Why would you do that, right? So with that said, you need to sell that consultation. You need to sell that next appointment. If you're an appointment setter, your job is not just to do the discovery. It's not just to qualify the lead. It's not just to book the appointment. It is to sell the next appointment to them. So that starts with, let me tell you a little bit about the consultant that you're going to be with. Christina has been with the company or has been in this industry for X amount of years. She's talked to literally thousands of other business owners in your position. She's very familiar with this space. As I mentioned, Do not lie to the lead. Only tell them things that are legitimately true. Otherwise, that will just never lie to the lead. That's just going to bite you in the ass later. And I've seen so many reps and appointment setters do it. Sometimes they do it unintentionally and they just think they're giving the right information and they're not. Other times it's just literally a bold-faced lie. So do not do that. If I find that anybody that I'm potentially going to bring on or train is doing that, I'm just probably going to be you're not the right fit. I do not even want that in my space at all. So be honest with them. Tell them a little bit about the consultant. Get them excited. Say, hey, wanted to make sure that you're going to get the most out of this call. So I know we scheduled it for this time, this date. Here, I'm going to send you the link and everything in a second here. But before I click submit on this appointment, I just want to make sure, are you 100% sure that this time is going to work for you? Because we're going to block it out and it's going to be reserved just for you. Okay, you are. Okay. And are you 100% certain that you can be sitting down with a notepad ready to take some notes? Because Christina's going to be going through a lot of information, and she's not just going to share information about what we do as a company, but she's also going to share some helpful tips for your specific scenario of where you're at in your business right now. A little bit about Christina. She's been talking to business owners just like you for about the last 5 years. She's literally had thousands of conversations like the one that she's about to have with you. She knows a lot about business, whatever. Tell them a little bit about it. Make sure that they're ready to have a notepad, because then in their mind, they're thinking, oh, I need a notepad. And you're not just talking about what you offer. You're also sharing some helpful tips and some wisdom with me. Okay, yeah, that sounds like I'm going to get a lot out of it. So awesome. So you've got that. You got your notepad. Like I said, Christina's going to pick up where we left off. She's going to share a bit about herself, a bit about what we can do to help you. But along the way, she's also going to share with you some helpful tips, some guidance. She might have some feedback for you, some referrals. She might take a peek of your social media, if it's a marketing offer, for example, or she might take a peek of this at that. So, just be ready for that. Everybody I've ever booked Christina with has come back, and oftentimes when they have come back and they've talked to me again, they've said, hey, that was a great call. Thank you so much for booking me with Christina. Again, only say that if it's true, but that does happen. I've had people literally thank me for offering and selling them something because it's helped them and I legitimately cared and stuff. So that stuff does happen. So, say hey, when I book people with Christina, anytime I talk to that person again, they're usually Christina was amazing. Thank you so much for getting me on the call with her. That was really valuable. So I'm really excited that I'm able to get you an appointment with Christina, because it can be a little challenging to get people booked with her because her schedule is typically really busy. But so you're good for that time, 100%. You're going to be there. You're going to be ready. You're going to be sitting down on Zoom with your notepad. Awesome. Okay, I'm booking the appointment now. Now it's the button-up process, right? So you've sold them on the appointment, right? You've said, hey, it would be valuable, right, for you. Does this sound like something that would be valuable to you just based on my explanation? Awesome. Okay. And if you're really not sure, just ask them. Literally just ask them. And if you're afraid that answer will be no, then somewhere along the line you didn't effectively do your job. I mean, just all due respect. And if they say no, just be oh, okay, interesting. Why is it that you say that? Or what is it about how I've described this that makes you feel like this wouldn't be valuable? And they're oh, well, this just seems like it's probably just going to be a sales call. I'm well, of course. We are in a sales environment. You have a need. We have a business. A business sale is literally just exchanging monetary value for a service that someone needs. So, yeah, I mean, if she thinks we can help you, she would be offering something to you, which if you bought it, that would be a sale. But it is absolutely not just a sales call. Christina is an actual consultant. She's been operating businesses for the last decade. She's had multiple types of businesses. So she's going to be giving you some advice and feedback along the way for your marketing. I mean, if you really don't think that this would be valuable for you, maybe we shouldn't have the call, with all due respect. I obviously I think we can help you, but I want to make sure that you're getting value out of this. So that's how you would respond if someone said, I don't think it would be valuable. If you weren't sure, you should always ask, because just like in an actual consultation, in an actual sales call, if I always ask, I'm hey, is there anything that you have on your mind right now that does this make sense to you? Do you have any uncertainties about this? Are there any concerns that you have, right? I ask for them, right? I want them to tell me their concerns, because otherwise I don't know their concerns and I'm not able to properly address them. And they're just having a conversation with themselves in their head about what those concerns are, and those concerns are never being addressed. That's never going to actually result in a productive outcome, right? So you want to be you want to be making sure that it is valuable to them. And if you have any thoughts that it might not be, or they just don't really seem that excited, hey, listen, like, can I be super direct with you, Sandra? And Sandra's like, yeah. I'm like, listen, it's really hard for me to say this, but, I really do want to help you. You just spent the last 10 minutes telling me about some of the challenges that you have, which I'm absolutely confident that Christina can describe to you how we can help you solve those and everything. Maybe you're just like tired. Maybe you're just having a bit of a rough day. But with all due respect, you don't sound like super stoked to be, having me book you on this call right now. And I say that, with love, but I just want to make sure that, like, this is actually valuable to you, because if it's not, like, we don't have to book this call. Like, I think we can help you, but, like, we don't have to book it. It's completely fine. I want to make sure that you feel like you're going to get value out of this, right? So those are just a few ways of, like, if someone just is like, yeah, okay, cool, sounds good, yeah, I'll be there, okay, all right, yep, sounds good. If they sound like that, like, you don't want to just be like, oh, all right, I'm just going to cross my fingers. I'm going to hope they don't sound super enthused, but, they stayed on the call with me, so I'm just going to book them. That is the exact type of person that is just going to end up canceling the call, rescheduling, completely wasting that slot that you booked them for. That is not going to help you if you're a commission appointment setter. It's not going to help the company. It's not going to help the person either, the lead themselves, and it's also not going to help the actual consultant either, because they're going to have an open block on their calendar, which, if they're trainers like I am, they can actually just use that block of time to record a training on how to avoid this, which is how I'm spending my time, which is fine. And I'm grateful for it, honestly. I get, when you have a cancellation, you get an hour back of your time or however long it are, and you can use it to handle something else that you need to handle. So there is that. But if the goal is to get them to show up to the appointment, you have to sell them on that appointment. If they seem uncertain, hey, can I be really honest with you? Like, you don't sound super stoked to be booked on this appointment. So, like, if you really don't want to do this, like, I don't have to book this for you. Like, based on everything that you've told me, I am super confident that we can help you. We've helped other people like you before. But, like, I only want to book this call if you're, like, absolutely 100%, like, you're down to show up. You're down to have that notepad. Because I know we can not only help you if you decide to work with us, I know that even if you don't decide to work with us, or if you don't think that we're a fit for you, I know that you're going to get value out of this because you're talking to Christina and she has so much experience in this specific niche. So, like, are you just kind of tired, maybe having a little bit of a not so great day, or, and then you've already asked them, can I be honest with you, right? And if you really, really want to, like, get full permission, right? Because some people could be offended by that, right? Can I just be super blunt and direct with you for a second? It's probably going to offend you, like, no joke, like, you might just want to hang up on me. So, like, I hope that's not the case, but, like, I just feel like I have to bring this up. And they're going to be wondering, what the hell is she possibly going to talk about? I've known this girl for like 7 minutes. So you're going to be like, yeah, sure. What's up? And then you go into that, like, I want to make sure that you're getting value out of this because this is important for you as well, right? You've been in this position for X amount of time. You've been trying to solve this. I know that we can help. I know that Christina not only can show you what we do, but I know that she can also give you some helpful advice for your specific situation, even if you don't end up working with us, right? You want to make sure that if they get on that consultation, that they are going to get value, even if they don't end up working with your company. And if you can get them to that point where they truly feel, and that should be the truth, don't lie. If they truly feel like they're going to get value by being on that actual appointment, even if they don't work together with you, then that is going to make them way more likely to show up to the call, because then instead of them being like, oh, I am the person that's buying, I am doing them a favor by even showing up to this appointment, by even being there in the first place, I'm doing something for them. They got me. I clicked on their ad and I'm getting onto a sales call now. If that is where their head is at, they will not value that appointment. They will not value keeping that time. They may, in worst case, just no show, no call, no show, no communication. That's the worst case scenario. or they'll cancel like the morning of the call, 15 minutes before the call, at the time of the call, or they might reschedule last minute, like 5 minutes before the call. They're rescheduling like 3 different times on the calendar, which is also wasting, time on the calendar that could be there for other people that are committed to getting onto that call. So there's a lot of situations that can happen, but if they need to have that value, and don't rely on the fact that just because they've reached out to us, even 3 days ago, even yesterday, that they actually remember who the company is, because they could be clicking on every freaking offer that they see in their Facebook and Instagram feed right now. And they're going to be all sorts of confused by the time that you talk to them. So those are a few tips on just how to handle the appointment setting call. How to button up the call. That's the last thing that we'll go over in this training. And then any questions that you have, if there's probably a comment area in here, or my contact info, whatever, down below. You can write any questions to me. Just ask them in the comments if there are comments, because then I can answer them, and then that way other people can be helped by your question. Pardon me. And if it's a super personal question for whatever reason, you can also just reach out to me directly, but otherwise ask them in the comments. So buttoning up the call. What buttoning up the call means when it comes to setting appointments is selling them on that appointment, making sure that they see the value of showing up to that call. That's super important. So we already covered that. B, making sure that they are absolutely available for that time slot, which, we kind of talked about that as well. C, hey, I just booked you on that appointment. You should be seeing in your email right about now a booking confirmation with a Zoom link. Can you open up your email real quick? Let me know if you see that come through. Awesome. Okay, and you should have just gotten a text from me. I have texted you over the pre-call video. Now that video, it's about 20 minutes long. It's going to help you prepare for the call so you get the most out of it. It's going to also answer some frequently asked questions, so that way you can be even more efficient and get more out of your time with Christina. Have time to ask her more questions, get more feedback, etc. And you definitely want to look at that link. Did you just see that come through in your text messages? Can you emoji that for me real quick so I know you got it? Boom, do that. Make sure they have the pre-call video if there is one, and if there isn't one, your company, ideally they should have one, because it does help to share some of this stuff up front with them. And if you have any questions about what should be in the pre-call video, how do I do the pre-call video, definitely, ask that in the comments. And then whenever I have that training, I will link to that training as well, in terms of what you should be putting in a pre-call video and the type of content that should be in there, how to structure it and everything, because that is also important, especially whether or not you do have setters. They're going to see that before they book an appointment, typically, after they click through on booking the appointment, and then before they actually attend and stuff. So anyway, ask them if they got the link, ask them if they got the Zoom call, so they know it's a Zoom call, that they have their notepad ready, all of those things. So those things are called buttoning up the appointment set. All right, awesome. Well, Sandra, I'm so excited that we were able to get you booked today. Thanks for spending the last 15 minutes with me. I hope you have an amazing time on your call with Christina. Any questions that you have between now and then, just write them down. And when Christina is sharing things with you, she's going to pause for questions and stuff, so you can make sure that you ask her questions. She's very thorough. Most people tell me after they have a conversation with her that they actually don't even have any questions, because all of their questions were just answered along the way of talking to her. So you'll probably be good there, but looking forward to her meeting with you. I'm going to send her my notes, and I hope you have a great day. Right? Now, if they try to ask you questions, I got a few questions real quick. How much is it? I got a few questions. How does this work? I got a few questions. What do you do? Hey, listen, Sandra, I would actually love to answer those for you. I can answer them in a very general sense, but to be honest with you, I don't even know what she would really recommend to you, because I'm really just the appointment setter. I'm the junior consultant. Christina is really the expert here. She's going to be able to answer all of your questions really thoroughly and very clearly. So I don't know how much this would cost for you. I don't know what she would recommend in terms of your ad spend, and what option that we have would be best for you. I'm not well versed on all of those things. I don't even know how to properly explain all of that to you. And even if you do know those things, that is not your role. That's not what your role is. So you can literally just say, hey, I can't really go through all of that. I don't know the right answers and everything. I would love to help you and give you all that information right now. But like I said in the beginning of this call, I actually only had a few minutes. I'm about to go to another appointment, so If it's not your role, don't try to get into a sales conversation necessarily on the actual offer. The only sales conversation you should be having is on selling the appointment, so they can get on and ask their questions about the offer and everything. So if they do try to ask you those questions, just be straight up and be like, hey, listen, this isn't really like my job responsibility. And I don't mean that from I don't want to help you. I just mean I haven't been trained on all of this stuff, because more than likely you haven't, unless you're a total overachiever like I was on some offers. And even if I was setting an appointment, I would still literally learn everything I possibly could about the offer, because my goal was to be, going to the next step and stuff too, of being on consults and everything. So you can just be honest with them and say, hey, listen, this isn't really my job. And I don't mean that just from I don't want to help you, but I just haven't been trained on all of this stuff. So I don't really know the right answers to your questions. And I don't want to give you the wrong information. So get on that call with Christina. Like I said, most people get on that call, and once they're off, they don't even have any questions, because she's answered them along the way so well. And yeah, she can absolutely help you. That said, super great talking to you. I do have to go to my next one, so I will see you soon. I'll follow up with you. We'll reach out after that appointment with Christina, and I hope you have an awesome day. And then boom, end the call. So let me know if you have any questions about that. Yes, I did just spend 46 minutes talking about what should be a 7, 10, 15 minute at most conversation, but there's a lot that goes into it. And people, unless they've been in a formal appointment setting type of training, or trains just very well, from multiple points of those factors, you might not know this stuff, and you might not realize that is one of your key responsibilities, is selling them on the next appointment and getting them excited to get on that next call. So if you can get your lead that you spend 7 to 15 minutes to excited about getting on that next call, and they show up excited with their notepad on Zoom, they're like, all right, Christina, got my notepad ready to go, super excited about what I'm about to learn today. And then obviously, of course, only tell them those things that they're going to get feedback, that they're going to get, value and stuff. If the consultant is actually doing it, do not tell them that if the consultant's just going to get in and just straight up pitch them and not give them any value. But if they're a good consultant, if they're a great consultant, they're going to give them value regardless of even if that person books a follow-up call with them. I think that about wraps it up. There's other ways of handling, there's other objections, I guess, that could potentially come up, but this, for the purposes of this training, we're going to end it here, and then maybe I'll have another training in the future in terms of handling objections as an appointment setter, or any curveballs and stuff that you could get, which are possible, but most people kind of get it in terms of the leads that you're talking to. They're like, okay, yeah, I reached out, that makes sense, I'll show up, all of that stuff. So if you do have any questions, drop them in the comments. And other than that, rock and roll. And I hope you learned something today. Tell me your biggest takeaway in the comments. The thing that just was wow, did not even think about that. Put that in the comments. It really helps me to know. If there was anything that you felt wasn't helpful in this training, also just feel free. I mean, you can put it in the comments if you want, or you can send that to me directly if you'd like, whichever you feel is best. But yeah, definitely please tell me what your biggest takeaway was and what was helpful to you, because it makes me realize and just see the tangible effects that this training is helping someone, which is the whole point of why I'm doing it, is to help you be more effective at the role that you have. And overall, to make sure that the person on the other end of it, that remember, they're a real human with real hopes, dreams, fears, aspirations, everything, to also make sure that they are getting something out of it, because that is also important too. I'm Christina with Rise and Align Sales Coaching and Strategy, and I hope you enjoyed this training. Follow for more.